It's a Saturday night in Fortaleza, Brazil, and as usual, the popular tourist destination is bustling with nightlife. That energy extends beneath the surface, where a group of men crawl through a tunnel of their own making. Their destination? The vault underneath Brazil's central bank. In conveyor belt fashion, they shuffle box after box down the line and into their safe house. At the end of the night, they've managed to steal $70 million worth of Brazilian reais, nearly double what they planned. But as they say, more money, more problems, as the gang falls victim to a different kind of heist from an unlikely perpetrator.
Welcome to Heist Club, where we've got a new heist story coming at you each week. We're here to uncover the details behind some of the most audacious and ridiculous robberies of all time. How they pulled it off, how they got caught, and the mysteries that remain. Bank heists, art heists, diamond heists, and other capers you won't believe. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Todd.
Welcome to the club.
Tudo bem?
Tudo bom, Todd.
Tudo bem, Jesse? Apparently this is how you say hello in Brazilian Portuguese. We are no experts. We can't pretend that we are.
We were told to say this. Hopefully it's great.
Yes, we said it perfectly. Otherwise, the letters will be a-flowing this week. Send us all your, because we have a real mailbox to send letters to. Send the letters in, complain of our pronunciation. We did the best we could. We're just tourists here, but we are in Brazil for the first time in the podcast. We've been to South America before on the podcast. We've been to Argentina for Evita's body, which was a sad, hard episode. We've been to Bolivia and Chile as part of our Butch and Sundance episode, and now we're in Brazil. Finally, beautiful Brazil. I've actually never been to Brazil. Jesse, have you been to Brazil?
What do you think?
I know. I had to ask anyway. I was hoping you'd surprise me. I've been at the border. I've been in Uruguay. I've been super close. And actually, I guess I was also when I was in Argentina, but never actually been inside Brazil, which is a real failing on my part and your part as well. It's supposed to be so fun.
I've failed.
Yes. Well, we're here today at least. We're in Brazil, and this is another one I never heard of before. There's some similarities to Heist we told before, but also a lot of crazy differences and a lot of money. This is a lot of money. So much money.
So many millions of dollars. When it gets into double digits of millions, we start to, our eyes perk up for sure.
Yeah, I know. It's like to a degree we've gotten used to it because we've done things of such value, but you can never really get used to it when you think about, let's just get into it. We're going to
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Okay. This week, we return to our roots, in a way, for a classic bank robbery. Although it's not just a classic stick-up. It's definitely done in a untypical fashion. And it comes with a twist, because that is what Heist Club does for you. We travel to Fortaleza, Brazil, which sits on the northeast corner of the country and has a population of over 2 million people. The city is known for stunning white sand beaches and bustling tourism. The average temperature being 80 degrees year-round makes it a prime destination. That sounds very nice to me right now, and most of the year, to be honest. Fortaleza is also home to a branch of Brazil's central bank, think our Federal Reserve, which some call the safest place in the city, maybe even the country. And we're saying that, so guess what's going to happen? With steel reinforced concrete walls over a meter thick, we are likely to believe them. We have a picture of the central bank building, and it looks pretty modern. I mean, when you think of like Federal Reserve, it feels like, oh, it's almost like a prison. It's like, no, this is like a fancy high-rise to a degree.
Yeah, it looks nice. It looks nice and tall.
Yeah, tall, glassy, but not just glass. It has some architectural flourish, if you will.
Glassy and classy.
There you go. And of course, what's a bank without a vault? This one is subterranean and about the size of a professional basketball court. That's pretty big. Instead of employees going down there to pick up boxes, a forklift which runs on suspended rails does all the heavy lifting. Pretty cool. Last but not least, that reinforced concrete wall mentioned above encases the entire vault. So that feels, again, impenetrable. I would totally think that. Since its opening in 1965, the Fortaleza branch of the central bank has not seen a single robbery or break-in. People are probably, you publish how strong your vault is, and like, good luck, people. No freaking way. You're not getting in here. So people aren't even trying, despite a vault the size of a basketball court. Pretty big. But as employees unlock the doors at 8:30 a.m. on Monday, August 8th, 2005, that record is about to be dashed. Antonio Celso, a federal police chief, is on his way to work when the chief of police in Fortaleza calls. He's told that the central bank vault has just been robbed. Celso and many others in law enforcement thinks it's a bogus call. It's been 40 years with no break-ins. Surely this must be a false alarm. But obviously we wouldn't tell you about a false alarm. That would be a pretty boring Heist Club episode.
Yeah, it's not.
Sorry, Celso. Sorry. Say it ain't Celso. It's true. But
Say it ain't Celso.
Say it ain't Celso. But when he gets to the bank, when he gets to the bank and is escorted to the vault, he doesn't see much cash. What's left is strewn about the floor. But what truly confirms the robbery has occurred is the 28-inch hole in the floor, which has been poorly concealed under some plywood. And we have a picture. It's a pretty big hole. You could definitely, not huge, but you can get a body in and out.
Yeah, I love a good tunnel. I love a good tunnel in a story. I just think it's so wild. Imagine being there. Imagine getting under there and getting dirty for this money.
It is dirty too. Like the money is all over the ground, but like it doesn't look clean and pristine. It's a clean and pristine building. The vault sounded that way, and now you look and you're like, oh, this is a mess. They really they went to town on this. And this reminds me of a movie of like when someone knocks on a door and then the camera cuts and all of a sudden you're inside the house before they walk in. We have a picture from inside the tunnel looking up at the people looking down the tunnel. So we also have that.
How did they get there? Yeah, exactly.
How do they do that? What? This is movie magic. But yeah, it's
did this actually happen?
They faked it well. No. Now, the robbers may be wherever that hole leads, is what they're thinking. Law enforcement would initiate a pursuit, but most of the officers there can't even fit through the hole. I don't know if they're bigger officers. I don't know. The hole doesn't look that small to me. Jesse?
You need a little guy. We've learned this from our other episodes, like Bastille Day. Right. You need a little man to go into the holes.
Yeah, that was another hole in the ground episode of Bastille Day. That's right. I look at this and I wonder if, like, the police, before they took some of these photos, like, opened it up a little wider so they could fit more people in, Like, the thieves kept it small so it wouldn't be noticed at first. But in one picture versus another, it does look a little bigger in one of these pictures. Like, they might have been like, to fit other officers down there, like, we have to make this hole a little bigger to investigate.
I guess
we have no evidence of that, so I'm just making stuff up, maybe.
Sure.
But I don't know. I'm just trying to, I'm looking at something like, we could fit, but
yeah, it doesn't look, for sure.
The Bastille Day one, like, he had to squeeze through. That was like acrobatics. Remember, he took off all his clothes, basically. In this case, we'll take them at their word. Our research says it was small and only, one person really could fit. Because there was federal officer Aeneas Sobrea. He volunteers to dive in. It's no surprise to his colleagues. They call him fearless and say he's a cop even when he sleeps. The others are robbers when they sleep. I don't know. Maybe in their dreams. They dream of robbing, and he dreams of copping.
Yeah, exactly.
And in their words, he took one look at the hole and said, "I'm going down there." That's a pretty badass line. So that's what he said.
He's going down. Yep.
Celso tries to stop him, saying there could be a bomb, but Sobrera goes anyway. He crawls through the tunnel, gun in hand, knowing his life could be at risk. His hands push aside discarded coins and energy drink cans. There's a sickening feeling that the robbers could still be there. He also fears booby traps such as tripwire grenades. I guess it's just you don't know what you're stepping into. These things sound a little intricate, but anything's possible. Basically, you want to get away with it. It's a little bit of a Goonies situation.
Right.
We'll see what they have set up for us. His crawl lasts an hour, but for him it feels like 10. On high alert, he takes in his surroundings. Wood boards line the sides along the hoses and wires. He even spots a speaker or two. Good news, the tunnel is well lit, and fans provide fresh air circulation. But it's also harrowing with everything still on and running. He might not be too far behind the robbers. So it's a good thing from a cop's perspective, but also a scary thing.
Are his fellow officers just like outside the hole, just waiting for him for an hour or like 2 hours? I just think that's a long time to be crawling by yourself and not knowing where you're going. I just feel like that is a horror movie. That's crazy.
I do think that's what it is, right? He's the one that fit. He's the one that volunteered, and he's gonna explore and then come back to them. and
That's
say,
just a wild feeling, not knowing how long you're going down a tunnel. Like after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I just feel like, it says in the, we already said it feels like 10. I just feel like that's a wild trip. Just keep crawling and crawling, trying to get to the end of it for an hour.
Well, and again, he's on high alert, which I totally get, which is now is the going through this tunnel and not know what's around the corner, see what's there. It's like what's around the corner could be someone. So he has to be, he can't go fast. He has to go slow and take it step by step. So
yeah,
I'm with you. Jesse. I get it. He eventually meets a wall of dirt and the remains of what looks like a mini construction site, jackhammers, saws, even garden shovels. And the only way to go is up. He climbs up the ladder and opens the trap door. He can be anywhere at this point, the street, a back alley, a field, another bank, who knows. More importantly, the robbers could be waiting on the other end. So again, he's just, what is coming? What am I going to find?
Yeah, I wonder how long he waited before he opened up the door. He's like, I need to listen to make sure no one is waiting, pointing a gun up this hole,
Exactly. I assume he's carrying a gun too. Again, unlike Bastille Day, he's not basically naked. Like he is. Yeah, he is
right. Yeah. He's ready.
Yeah, different story here. Instead, he finds himself inside a very empty house. Well, empty of people, definitely not of stuff. The house resembles an episode of Hoarders. He finds mattresses everywhere, even covering the doors and windows. Every other surface is covered in white powder. We'll talk about that later. There's also a number of clothes and a small bag of coins. He goes room to room, trying to get his bearings. He doesn't even know where he is. Looking out the windows is a bust, as there's a high wall surrounding the house, so he needs to get up even higher. One room holds dozens of sandbags that are likely filled with dirt from the tunnel. He stacks a pile and climbs to the roof. This guy really is fearless. He's just doing everything. It's still by himself, as far as we know, right? Still doing all on his lonesome. And he's like, I'll go to the roof. Sure, why not? He looks around and sees the bank to his left about 100 yards away. He calls everyone to his location, which is now named the starting point. So finally, they're going to come meet him. Now that he's above ground, he knows where he is. He's telling them, here I am. I don't want to be alone anymore.
But let's backtrack an hour where Celso and his crew start the investigation. First, what's missing? It's apparent right away that the robbers took only used bills, so the cash is untraceable. They broke into 6 massive boxes. The total is 160 Brazilian reais, or reais is how you're the traditional way to say it.
We're not even going to pretend to get the pronunciation right. So reais feels correct for us Americans.
Yeah, feels correct for today. Yeah. So 160 million Brazilian reais, which is $70 million in 2005, which is $180 million today. That's 3.5 tons of cash. That is some heavy paper.
Whenever you measure cash in tons, it's a lot of, even if it was just dollar bills, it's also not dollar bills because it's Brazil. That's 3.5 tons. So that's a lot.
Right. Yeah. That's a truckload, if you will, or a few. Yeah. It's officially the largest bank heist in Brazil's history. The next obvious step is to turn to the camera feed and see if they caught any of the action. That's going to be a little difficult, as there are only 5 security cameras in the vault, which stream to a single monitor that continuously switches between POVs.
I think in some cases we'd be like 5 security cameras. That's not bad, because we've seen heists with 0 security cameras. So, at least, again, I don't know. To me, if you're the Central Bank of Brazil, you'd have even more than 5. But at least they have 5. But then it's a question of how are they set up and are they continuously recording and all those things. They're not. They weren't.
Yeah. The cameras record based on a motion sensor system. The manufacturer of that system recommends they install it on the walls so the sensors go horizontally. The bank installs them on the ceiling, so of course they didn't do it.
By the way, I just assume maybe they don't trust them, but if you manufacture that system, I feel like you should also install that system. You just send those cameras to the bank and say, here they are, good luck, set them up. It's like you should be a full service operation here. If I had anyone to blame, it'd be the manufacturer of the motion sensor system.
Exactly. That's who to blame. Yeah. You can't just recommend. So, of course, the cameras didn't record anything as the motion sensors did not trigger. Have the streets said anything? Celso's informants haven't heard a peep about a bank robbery. This is going to be harder than he thought. Time to go to the starting point. which is a green little house down the street. The home had been rented out to a landscaping company since April. It's called Synthetic Grass. Very creative. Neighbors say that the guys at the landscaping company were very friendly and outgoing. Right after moving in, they went door to door passing out flyers. A landscaping company was actually a great cover. Nothing suspicious about having that many bags of sand.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. Speaking of sand, there's a lot more than the investigators originally thought. Some of the walls turned out to be additions made by the robbers. Behind them were entire rooms full of sandbags. Also, upon digging in the backyard, which is around 3 feet taller than the base of the house, investigators find even more sandbags. But a crap ton of sand isn't really going to help the investigation.
Jesse, do you remember? I was like, I got glimpses. Do you ever see the movie Lady Killers, the Coen Brothers movie with Tom Hanks?
No, I know about it though.
I like in researching this, I remembered the movie. It's like they're basically they rent a basement from an older woman, and there are a bunch of musicians, and they're pretending that's why they're there, but really they're digging a tunnel next door to steal from I think it was a casino or a casino boat.
Okay.
And I remember they're digging. It's one of those like they put the sand in their pants and they slowly release it more and more outside. So
yeah.
This is even more sand than they had, but still, just And that movie was before. Let's see, 2005. Lady Killers was what year was Lady Killers? 2004, just before. So maybe. Oh my God. This is the Lady Killers heist. They saw the Coen Brothers Lady Killers and said, we could do that for the Central Bank.
Whoa, that's it. Oh my gosh, we figured it out.
Although I will add, in looking at Lady Killers, I saw a reference to Short Circuit 2, which I can't say I remember that movie very well. I remember Johnny Five Alive from the first film, and actually want to show it to my kids at some point, despite some of the issues that might come up today. But in Short Circuit 2, apparently that's like literally what it is. They rent a house, they dig and they tunnel into a bank vault across the street. I did not remember that being the plot of Short Circuit 2, but Lady Killers, very inspired by Short Circuit 2, obviously.
Well, that makes sense. Maybe they watched Short Circuit 2 and Lady Killers, and now they did this.
Short Circuit 2 was a huge, did great box office in Brazil. Not many people remember that. Huge hit in Brazil.
I remember. Yeah.
Brazilians love Short Circuit 2.
Yeah. So the sand isn't helping the investigation. What also isn't helping is that white powder, which turns out to be chalk. A great tool for erasing fingerprints, which I didn't know that. Noted for when we plan our heist.
Yeah, smart.
So let's take a look at the tunnel instead. It sits 13 feet below ground and is 260 feet in length. Most of the digging was done with garden shovels since the soil is so sandy. It's estimated the robbers dug 30 tons of dirt. Its structure is supported by 900 1-foot-long wooden boards. It has its own homemade air conditioning system, made out of a pipe and a fan.
That's highly impressive.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen other tunnels before, but never to this level of production, I guess we could say, or engineering. Long tunnel, gets hot down there. Makes sense to do this if you could, but I think you'd just be prepared to sweat a lot, drink a lot of water, lose some weight.
Right. I'm sure they're in there for a long time, so that's good on them. It also has a hose system to carry water, an electrical system for lighting, and an intercom between the tunnel and the house. It's in a straight line, too. They only took 2 detours, one over a sewer pipe and one at the very end where they turned slightly to the left to avoid the forklift support beam. That little turn at the end alerts investigators that the robbers likely had an inside man.
Yeah, who would have known that the support beam was there and told them that? Makes sense.
Yeah, how do they know? How do they know to juke left? Yeah, it's such a head scratcher for Celso. Tunnels are used for prison breaks, not bank robberies. He must have not listened to our Bastille Day episode once again, or heard about the Nice sewer bank heist in general. Speaking of, there was a massive prison break in 2001 where over 100 prisoners, many being bank robbers, escaped Carandiru Penitentiary in Sao Paulo through a tunnel which connected to a house near the prison. Seems pretty familiar. Could this be a band of escaped convicts? Find out after the break.
We're back. Before the break, we learned that Celso has seen this type of tunnel before in a prison break. The guys that stole from the central bank are obviously pros, but like most big jobs, the heist is the easiest part. I don't know if it's that easy. And Celso hopes the robbers botched the landing. It is true. In many cases, it's, especially for stories we tell, getting the goods is one thing. Getting away with it is a whole other level of good luck. But this one sounds like a pretty complicated job. I don't think this was an easy one per se. So,
Right.
by the way, the prison break that you mentioned, where a tunnel went straight to someone's house, I never heard of that before for like a prison break. That seems brilliant to me. To break out of a prison, build a tunnel, and go straight into someone's house. That's next level. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't remember Short Circuit 2 mentioning a story like that. That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so first, the investigators go to the department that supplied the business license to Synthetic Grass. That was the company. They hand over an ID of a man named Paulo Sergio de Souza. He's wearing a beanie in the ID photo, which isn't allowed. Somehow he got away with it anyway. His listed birthday, the day of the heist. So that's clever.
Aw. He was born the day of the heist. Look at that little baby.
A little baby heist. It's our first ever baby committing a heist. Can't even open his eyes, and here he is.
Brazilian newborn heist.
Well, that's why the tunnel was so small. The only thing that could fit through the tunnel was a baby, a crawling baby, a baby crawling at 0 days old.
Exactly.
How do you do it, Paulo Sergio? We have a picture of Paulo Sergio. He doesn't exist. That's not his real name. But we have a picture, and yeah, the beanie kind of makes it hard to tell what he looks like because it's really covering a lot of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Paulo Sergio, he has a picture, he has a name, but he doesn't really exist. Who is he? We don't know. Everyone on the block seems to know him, though, not by name. They tell investigators he was a friendly guy who got along with everyone. There's a bar behind the house, which Paulo Sergio frequented. He gave out hats for the landscape company like a marketing tactic. This is like, they're having fun with this. It's like they made hats with the Synthetic Grass name on it. Like they're just going full out. Celso's team searches for him on the bar's website, where they actually post photos of parties they've thrown, but he doesn't appear in any. So he's good at blending in, I guess. While Celso deals with a real-life Kaiser Soze, Intelligence Department agent Luis Carlos Dantas looks for vehicles which could be used to transfer 3 tons of cash. Pretty big vehicle. Pretty stable vehicle. He finds a car dealership that sold several cars to one buyer the day after the robbery. So they didn't buy it before, which is interesting too. They bought it the day after the robbery. So maybe they had that plan, but they weren't going to, get him before. The buyer is a man named Jose Chavez, the owner of a transport company. If a big operation is what you're looking for, you will not find that here. Don't worry, though, those will come soon. Agent Dantas manages to intercept the truck almost immediately because the driver felt suspicious when he was called in to deliver cars on the weekend. Also, the driver's boss, Jose, wanted to ride with him, which is super weird. Jose acts super twitchy during the drive, also weird. The last straw for the driver is the package inside the cars. One is partially open, and he sees it, revealing a pile of cash. So there's a lot going on here that to this driver is standing out as unique. The driver pulls over to the nearest highway patrol station and is immediately met with armed police. So he just turned himself in when they show up. Agent Dantas and his team count 6 million reais on the scene right in front of the press. Jose Chavez is brought in for questioning. He blames it all on his brother, Marcos Rogerio, saying Marcos asked him to move the money, which is not a crazy theory. Marcos is one of the leading drug traffickers in the Primeiro Comando de Capital, also known as the PCC, a very powerful Brazilian drug cartel. And I love that the drug cartels have like acronyms. They're so organized that they're named the PCC. They've become so corporate.
Oh yeah, corporate cartel.
Yes. Further PCC connections come up when the airport raises red flags on travelers who paid for their flights in cash. They didn't hold them or deny them boarding, though. Their IDs were fake, but the photos they used were real. So the police just had to match their faces to their real names. One of the guys is Luis Fernando Ribeiro, also known as Fernandinho, a well-known member of the PCC. There's also a Brazilian soccer player named Fernandinho, but this is a different Fernandinho. I guess it's a more common nickname than I knew. There we go.
Yeah.
If it was the soccer player, that'd be even crazier. Jose tells Agent Dantas that Fernandinho funded the operation with 300,000 reais, and he got the biggest cut out of everyone else, 25 million reais.
That's a lot.
That's a good deal. You fund with 300,000, you get back 25 million. That's a good investment. Fernandinho knows what he's doing. So they identified the financier. Who's next? Agent Dantas gets a call from city police saying they just arrested a man who had 30,000 reais in checks. He claimed they were from his business. When he gets to the station, Dantas is met with a familiar face. The guy is his childhood friend. Oh, wow. So your friend becomes your enemy or something like that. The man cries with relief and confesses to Dantas the situation he got himself in. Okay, so that's a pretty good tactic. If you're going to, interrogate a potential criminal, make sure that you grew up with them because then they're going to trust you a lot more.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Just grow up with criminals and then become a cop later.
Yeah.
The man, known as Dusamar, previously worked at a security firm that was contracted by the central bank. So he spent a lot of time in the vault. But he leaves the firm and takes a job at a restaurant. Interesting change of life. That's when a smooth-talking man asks him if he wants a new job, one that will pay him way more. All he has to do is pass all the information he knows about the vault to him, like how to bypass the poorly installed motion sensors. Dusamar informs the man it would actually be better if they enter the vault twice. Once right before the bank closes, and the second time on the weekend. The first trip is to create a sort of force field against the motion detectors without tripping any alarms. Any solid object would do. Then the second trip is obviously to take the money and run. This is good insight information to have. Really helps them pull this off. The man decides to use his cut to start his own loan sharking business. And then on August 11th, just 3 days after the heist, parking lot employees call in an abandoned van. It is full of plastic bags, the same ones used to carry the sand, and pickaxes. Agent Dantas shows the parking lot employees photos of several possible suspects, basically known bank robbers, drug dealers, even the infamous Paulo Sergio. And they point out Moises Teixeira da Silva as the driver. He's a smooth-talking bank robber with an amazing power of persuasion. He calls himself the kind of guy that makes friends everywhere I go. He's proud of that. Remember that prison break in 2001, which involved a tunnel? He is one of the escapees, so there's our connection. And to Agent Dantas and Celso, he's likely the one who spoke to the inside man.
Celso and Agent Dantas have more witnesses to interview, like an inspector of the Dengue Pest Control who went to the landscaping business to do his work. They ask if he remembers anything about the people he spoke to. Well, yes, he noticed a man with blonde hair and very blue eyes. That's Alemão, a notorious criminal the media has already been mentioning as a suspect, and likely the ringleader. We have a photo of Alemão. He has blonde hair and very blue eyes.
Jeremy Renner. He's a spitting image of a young Jeremy. I was ready for a young Frank Sinatra or something, but no. Though this is Jeremy. This is Brazilian Jeremy Renner through and through.
Yeah, he looks like it also belonged to the Pin family. Like little Spicoli there.
Oh, yeah, a little Spicoli there. I see it.
Yeah, great. Thank you for agreeing. His brother-in-law, Marleudo, also seems to be roped in. He's definitely in over his head as he has a squeaky clean record. Back to Jose Chavez, the transport company owner. His phone book is full of names and numbers, including a man who shares the same number as Paulo Sergio. Uh-oh, Kaiser Soze.
We found you.
The name attached, Antonio Edamar, an associate of Marcos Rogério, the PCC drug trafficker, and Jose Chavez's brother.
The connections are just coming together so quickly. They all have so many connections to each other. It's a lot of people. We know it's a lot to follow, listeners, but they're very interconnected. It's easy to make, once you find out one, you're like, oh, it's the associate of the brother. Of course, naturally. Of course they're involved too.
Right, exactly. But don't get your hopes up like Celso did. He looks nothing like Paul Sergio's ID picture. And then on August 22nd, a team sits at a restaurant outside Antonio Edamar's house, waiting for something to happen. A Fiat pulls up, and Antonio steps out. A random man at the restaurant says, "Look, one of the central bank robbers. Everyone here knows that. Only the police don't know, but if you ask anyone here, they know." What a quote we have.
He says all that. That is like
everyone knows that. Only the police don't know. But
if the police are listening and watching right now, they will now know because I have said this out loud to the man who helped steal from the central bank. There he is.
Ask anyone else here. They know too. I'm a mouthpiece.
Do you know? Yes. Do you know? Yes. We all know. I told you we know. If only the police knew.
This is the hive mind of the restaurant. We all know this.
Yes, exactly.
Antonio and his buddy look at one of the agents and then each other with a scared look on their faces. They've been made. The team draws their guns and raid the house. They immediately find 10 million reais stacked next to the wall. Then more in bags and suitcases and even under the floor. That's 12.3 million reais in total. Antonio's fear makes total sense when the police showed up, but there may be another reason. Because in October 2005, Celso learns that Fernandino, the financier, was kidnapped outside of a nightclub. Uh-oh. The ransom was paid, but he's still missing. And then, 2 days later, police find his body, brutally beaten and shot execution style 7 times. 2 in the leg, 5 in the head. Yikes.
This is brutal. Brutal stuff. This is just like, and it's like, also like, where did this come from? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know he was the financier, right? And he put the money in and got a lot more back. So you're like, wait, did someone involved in the robbery? Like, is this a Goodfellas situation where all of a sudden anyone involved in the robbery is going to start getting killed so no one talks? I don't know. I mean, I found this to be a shocking part of the story. Like, I'm sorry, what happened? What? Why? Where? Who's doing this?
Yeah. I know. The autopsy shows he was killed before the ransom ever came through. Informants tell Celso that actually 2 real police officers were involved in the kidnapping, and this isn't the only incident.
So it's dirty cops, which is something I don't think we've had before on Heist Club, right? We've had brother-in-laws who used to work for something, maybe give a little bit of information, but have we had a dirty cop before involved in a heist? I don't think so.
Yeah, and then like did a ransom and everything. That's wild.
Yeah, they're not just dirty; they're beyond dirty.
They're filthy.
They're filthy. These are filthy cops. Brutal, filthy cops. My favorite show on ABC.
In December, another captured gang member nearly thanks Celso when they arrest him. Local police had taken 800,000 reais in exchange for not arresting him and also severely beat him and his wife. They actually come back for more money, and he begs them to take him to jail instead. They return 50,000 and tell him to forget about it.
Suddenly our bank heist story has become a story of police corruption.
Right.
You know? Which, and then the federal officer who seems to not be corrupt himself and is, now is all of a sudden dealing with a bunch of local corrupt cops and what's going on there. There's been plenty of movies about that. Actually, even like Secret Agent, the Brazilian film from last year, is a lot about that local corruption and who can you trust? You can't trust the police and everything.
Right. Yeah. Sad to see it.
Yeah.
That throws a whole wrench in the operation. On top of trying to catch world-class bank robbers, Celso has to race crooked cops if he wants to retrieve any of the stolen cash or his robbers alive. By 2006, Celso also figures that trying to catch these guys head-on is not going to work. New strategy: go through the side door. Girlfriends, wives, friends, any family will do. Like a woman named Liduina, who they suspect is dating one of the robbers. The robber only calls her through public phones from a rural area. The investigative team find a recently purchased farm and try to approach, but a man on a motorcycle intercepts them. What they manage to get is a visual on a pair of distinct boots in a bag sitting on the porch. One of the cops says that he can recognize the guy by those alone. He gets his chance. When the guy calls Liduina, he says he's flying to Sao Paulo. They wait at the airport. Boots? Check. Bag? Check. It's Raimundo Laurindo Neto, or just Neto. We have a photo of Neto and Liduina.
They're on a corkboard. It looks like someone, this is like, I don't know if this is Celso's or not, but it looks like someone doing an investigation, or maybe, it could be a lawyer at some point, basically tying these two together, showing the faces. I wish we had pictures of the boots and the bag. They're so distinct. Like, what boots was he wearing? This stylish man.
They were pink furry boots.
Yes. It'd be like, oh, Neto has a lot of style.
Yeah. Neto has his own separate gang going on with his 9 brothers. That is a lot of brothers.
Yeah.
Celso's crew taps his phone and learns they have to race against the clock. There's another tunnel under construction, this time in Porto Alegre, a major city on the southern coast of Brazil. Can they stop it in time? Find out after the break.
Welcome back. Months after the bank robbery, Celso and his team of investigators managed to tap into one of the alleged robbers' phones and learn another tunnel robbery is underway. So it's a race against time. There's also another reason for them to rush. In May 2006, there's a string of coordinated widespread attacks by the PCC on police, firefighters, and government officials. Again, this is just like a rough time. They are not a fan of the feds knocking on their relatives' doors or corrupt cops extorting them for money. I get the corrupt cops part, being like, come on. Right. Probably not happy if cops, but they wouldn't be happy either way. So basically sounds like if you're doing your job, we're not happy with you. But if you're doing your job in a dirty way, also not happy with you. So there's no way to win with this PCC, is there?
No.
Stop going to the side door and seeing all my relatives' doors, you know?
Yeah. It turns out the cartel is pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, there's just no way to win. Even when you are a corporate entity like the PCC, even when you go corporate.
I know.
I remember they were super indie, that PCC, when they were in startup mode.
The DIY PCC for sure. Back when it was cool.
It was cool. In June, Celso summons a team to conduct surveillance on gang members arriving in Porto Alegre. First, 2 men arrive, then 3 more, and so on. Eventually, 11 people are in the same house. They head to a building in downtown Porto Alegre, which they purchased for 1.2 million reais in cash. It's just a coincidence that Ben Rasul, the largest bank in southern Brazil, has a system of underground private vaults near the building. Is this a coincidence? Feels like it maybe isn't. Celso sets up a fake company across the street and fixes a camera into the building. It's obvious these guys are pretending to renovate the building, even wearing regulation gear. They're more into like these fake companies again. Synthetic grass 2.0, if you would. But they're doing some kind of construction work. Their dumpster is always full. And that dumpster is the key to knowing what stage they are at in digging the tunnel. Building material equals still in the main building. Sand means they are underground. Concrete and iron, they've hit the vault. It's like a science project. In a not very shocking revelation, 2 gang members are actually police officers. Yes, more dirty cops. And more police are sniffing around to extort the criminals with arrest warrants. It's like they're doing in this case, it seems a little bit like the police officers are doing good investigative work to know what's going on, but not to actually stop it, just to get in on the action, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
What good cops / bad cops.
Yeah, this is getting complicated.
It is. Track the money, that's where it goes. By September, Celso knows they only have a short time before a major conflict between gangs and the police lights up the city center. 2 days later, Celso positions 2 snipers for surveillance. Is that how you do surveillance? Snipers?
They got a scope.
Can't you set binoculars and do it?
No, they're out of binoculars.
Binoculars. I know. Snipers then. Okay. And they need to watch for the precise moment the door opens. They can't risk their cover being blown by using explosives to bypass the door. Sure. At 5 a.m., someone leaves the building. Celso and his team pull up in an unmarked SUV and grab him. They press him. How many people are involved? How many guns? Where is everyone in the building? Is the truck half full, half empty? All these questions. But he's not making any sense. Is he drugged, drunk, or putting on a great performance? It doesn't matter.
More questions.
Lots of questions. Too many questions. It doesn't matter because the snipers just gave word the door is open. At 7 a.m., the strike team sneaks in, and they don't strike in, they sneak in. The strike team sneaks in and skillfully takes control of 8 floors. And like the little green house, the floors are covered in mattresses, this time with occupants. So it's a big job. 26 people are arrested in total. Plus, as a little decor, the gang has an altar covered with candles and an image of Our Lady of Aparecida. Not sure Mary would approve of their criminal activity, though. As for the tunnel, they uncover multiple attempted entrance points before finding the actual tunnel. It is over 250 feet long, just over 40 feet shy of the Ben Rasul vault, and built with the same system using wooden boards as supports. So they definitely have an MO now. They did it one place, it worked, they're doing it again. On top of the 26, 21 more people are arrested across Brazil as well. This is a big, big job. But the big guys, Neto Alameo, the ringleader, and his brother-in-law, Marleudo, Moises, the coordinator, and the phantom, Paulo Sergio, whoever he really is, are still at large. So despite finding 47 people, they still don't have everyone. Crazy coordination.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so they haven't found the big guys yet, but maybe not for long. Forensics experts dust every inch of the building for fingerprints, and one matches with Marleudo. It takes a year, quite the investigation, but they finally find him on the beach in Canoa Quebrada, 2 hours south of Fortaleza. And he's got a new look, a full beard, and a considerable weight loss. They arrest him in front of his friends at the bar. So embarrassing. Come on, not in front of my friends at the bar.
Yeah.
It goes like this. One of the agents claps him on the shoulder. Hey, Marleudo, don't you remember me? He looks scared and says, no. Federal police, party's over. Cool line. He was like, they were excited to say that line. Marleudo faints. Wow. He faints. He is a sensitive soul.
Yep.
When he comes to, he tells them how he had to rough it in the wilderness, eating raw corn from farms and constantly being covered in ticks. I feel bad for you, I guess. He tells them he wants to own up for his crimes and live the rest of his life in dignity. In dignity, probably also in prison. He also digs up 2 separate boxes of cash and land purchase documents. So he's helping. In December, Celso finds his angle to get Alemão, another side door situation, his sister Jenny, who's listed as the secretary for this synthetic grass company. It looks like Jenny receives a lot of calls from a public phone. Who could it be? It belongs to a car dealership, and that dealership has 5 more cell phones connected to it. One cell phone is connected to a cattle farmer named Roberto. So many people involved. Am I right, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm really keeping up for sure.
Okay, good. We might need like a usual suspects like board on our show notes showing all the connections of who is who and how.
Absolutely.
So you could follow along at home. Mm-hmm. So a cattle farmer named Roberto, strange that a cattle farmer has a phone connected to a car dealership. Yeah, I guess so. In January 2008, they learned Roberto has set up a meeting with his friends at a bar. So Celso takes his chance. Could this be Alemão? The guy has a beard and long hair. They've all really changed their looks. Much different than the short blonde he was sporting a few years earlier. He's hard to identify, so Celso actually brings his own wife, his own side door, if you would, along to help. He tells her to look for a horse tattoo on his right arm, and she sees it, so it's him, despite the new look. But they can't just up and grab him. They need a warrant for that, I guess. With one in hand, they wait for Alemão to leave his house, and Celso and his team tail him in a sneaky convoy. My favorite kind of convoy. He swerves through lanes and loses the tail. Well done, I guess. They don't want to make it obvious they're following him by copying his erratic driving, so they keep a distance. Now, only one officer has eyes on him. He follows Alemão into a store, but he doesn't know if he could pull the arrest off alone. But Alemão is getting into his car. Celso tells him to go for it. Hot pursuit, if you would. They got him. Now in cuffs, Alemão is taken back to his home by Celso and his team. His wife cries at the sight of him in cuffs, and he says, it's better this way. I can't keep running forever, and I can't wait to see my kids. Aw, what a good dad. One agent slaps him on the shoulder and says, sorry things fell apart. Why are you sorry? Sorry things fell apart. Alemão replies, it's fine. This is like a lovely moment in the middle of this. Like, I don't know what's happening.
Are they also childhood friends?
Yes, exactly. Everyone's just childhood friends with each other.
Right.
Alemão gives them 80,000 reais that was hidden under the stove. Under the stove. Impressive. Moises, the coordinator, is next. Many of those already arrested confirm he is the one who recruited them. His friendships and corrupt cops gives him extensive insider knowledge of the police, which makes him very slippery. Celso plans to arrest Moises under the side door method again. Oh my God. So there it is. This time it's the wife. Of course it's the wife. We already said it was the wife.
No.
Monitoring her phone reveals she receives a lot of calls from an unknown number. On one of the calls, she is told to hand over her 10-year-old son to a man who is going to pick him up. He must be either taking the kid to his father or is his father. Celso mobilizes his surveillance team. A Fiat, another Fiat, pulls up. The kid gets into the car and leaves. The driver of the Fiat eventually stops at a bakery, and an agent steps behind him in line. It's Moises. Well, he's 95% sure. That's good enough for Celso. So they follow him to his apartment complex. He sends in a fake couple, an agent, and an investigative journalist under the guise of touring the apartment. They go to the parking garage hoping to see an assigned apartment number to the Fiat space. There isn't one. No matter, a little fender bender will bring him to them. A lot of drama, a lot of like planning here. It's like fender bender. The doorman calls him down as agents take positions in the garage. He comes down in sweats and a t-shirt, so he's definitely not armed. They close in quick. All he says is, "I thought you'd forgotten about me." Aw, sweet again. You didn't forget about me. You love me. You arrested me too.
Everyone's friends. The cops are bad guys. The bad guys are cops. Everyone's knows each other from middle school. Soon after, 3 more gang members are found dead, tied up at the bottom of a 75-foot well. Cause of death, strangulation.
It wasn't falling down the well. They were strangled first. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe they threw them down the well and then told them to strangle each other.
Strangle yourselves. Do it.
We're watching you. All right, now strangle him.
This is impressive.
Well, his arm's broken. Help him strangle you.
Sorry.
Dark joke. Okay.
Very dark.
Celso confronts city police units and tells them he won't give anyone a free pass when they are caught. Finally, who is Paulo Sergio? Celso better hurry, or crooked cops might get to him first. The arrest of one of his cohorts may do the trick. They find the cohort's mom's address and match a frequent phone number that could be Paulo. All right, now to the mom. It's now or never to identify him, as he has a meeting with a car rental place the next day.
Is he meeting with the place or a person at the place?
He's meeting with a car.
He's meeting with a car. Yes, my friend the car.
Yeah, my friend the car.
You know what cars have? Do you know what cars have, Jesse? They have side doors.
Didn't see that coming for some reason. Yeah, his other side door, a car. Yeah.
Yeah, the ultimate side door, a car. He's meeting with Kit. Yes.
Yep. He matches the ID photo. They approach the car and announce themselves. At first, he thinks it's a joke from some of his corrupt police buddies. Hilarious.
Oh, these guys are so funny. These funny corrupt cops. Yes.
Yeah,
hilarious.
Corrupt cops pretending to do their jobs as a joke. Ha 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 ha.
No way.
Then he quickly realizes this isn't a joke and screams for help that he's being kidnapped. It takes a while for Celso's guys to convince him he is really going to jail. He relaxes. He says, quote, "Okay, you got me." He tells them he had already been kidnapped twice by police because of the robbery and lost all his money on the first ransom. On the second go-round, the others had to chip in for his freedom.
So we feel bad for him? I guess we feel bad for him. It's like he pulled off this amazing robbery, but then the police just wait. I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's better to be a corrupt police officer than a impressive criminal, right? It's like just wait for them to pull off the crime and then you just take it from them.
Right. Yeah.
Not that I'm encouraging kids that are listening to follow either of these paths. Sorry.
So now, who is Kaiser Soze?
Verbal Kint. No.
For anyone who doesn't know who Kaiser Soze is, we're sorry. So, what is Paulo Sergio's real identity? Meet Jorge Luis. While everyone else is some sort of badass bank robber and escaped convict, he is just the front man. Moises wanted someone friendly enough and pretty much untraceable to be the manager of the synthetic grass company. Jorge fit the bill perfectly.
This is the most boring version of Kaiser Soze ever. He's not like the criminal mastermind. He's just like the nice guy who they thought get away with it.
Guy that looks like he would own a landscaping business.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Central casting.
Exactly.
Benko Central casting.
That's it.
Woo.
You like that one?
I did like that one. I was proud of that one. I mean, I went very English for my impersonation. I lost the Benko Central casting. Yes.
I love it. A man who owned a nearby hotel said, quote, "He was a lovely guy. He always said hello when he arrived home and goodbye when he went out, like any good neighbor. With his outgoing nature and kindness, no one suspected his crew was doing anything but fake grass landscaping." Sneaky Jorge. With that anticlimactic reveal, Celso's officers arrive at another suspect's house just as local police try kidnapping him. Wow.
Yeah, and that's like, wait, who is who? It's like this is like the scene in Spider-Man where they're pointing at each other.
Cop on cop action.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
The police approach with their guns drawn, as if they can intimidate the feds.
As if.
Thank you. Don't think they forgot about Neto, original gang member and leader of the second tunnel job, who also can't escape extortion from corrupt cops.
Of course.
Celso records a conversation where Neto asks someone for a $300,000 ransom. They listen as a lawyer brokers the deal. Then Celso notices that Leto is actually calling from the police station. So it looks like crooked cops are at it again, kidnapping and stealing money from the robbers.
It feels like crooked cops are just like negotiating with other crooked cops at this point. It's just...
Yeah.
And then there's this lawyer brokering the deal. Who, is that a crooked lawyer? Or is this just a lawyer doing their job, I guess, getting hired? I don't know.
I know. There's a lot going on. So it was the easiest pickup. With all the arrests made and everyone identified, Celso pieces the heist together. And here are the pieces that he pieced together. It starts in 2005. Ale Mao wants to carry out a big bank job. It makes the most sense to team up with Moises, who escaped prison via a tunnel and could talk anyone into a job. It went like this for a former member who was one of the 2001 prison escapees. So they were involved. Moises approaches him and offers him a job. When pushed on how much money is involved, he says, quote, "If you go to the beach and take a spoonful of sand, would there still be a lot of sand left?" Is that a Zen cone? Okay.
That's a little too poetic for me. It makes it sound like, that does that answer the question? Would there be a lot of sand left? It makes it sound, to me, it says a lot more about like how much money is in the vault. And if they take a little, they might not even notice because there's so much there versus saying how much they're taking.
We're taking a spoonful.
He's like, a spoonful, that's not enough. Yes. Just literally give me a number, please. Give me a number.
How much sand could money be buried under the dollar bills of the desert? What? The escaped convict and 33 others work in shifts, night until morning, then morning until night. You guessed it. For 3 months. Inside the tunnel, someone fills a bag with sand, then another pulls the filled bags to the exit. Then another carries it up to the surface. When not digging, they hang out around the beach or take a nap on one of the mini mattresses.
I love that detail. It's like, just so you know what they were doing when they weren't digging, you know, because there's so many.
At this point, they're making their own beach with all the sand.
Yeah, that's right.
They hope to land right under a crate so they could cut through it and take the money from below and avoid any cameras. Wouldn't that be convenient?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. And just like their inside man, Dusamar, said, they enter the vault right before the bank closes on Friday to avoid the alarms. But instead of landing under a crate, they're right under a camera. But no alarm. Phew. They're saved by the very support team they wanted to avoid. They set up the pushcart force fields and cover the hole with a wooden pallet and crawl back through the tunnel. When they break back in on Saturday, celebrations and yells could be heard over the tunnel's intercom system. They travel the bags like they did the sandbags. When the first bag reaches the house, they kick it over and spread the money all over the floor in celebration. They keep track of how many packages of money they take via tally marks. The tally ends at 330.
That's why it's 3 tons. That's a lot of bags.
That's a lot of money bags. By 9 a.m., they have 160 million reais from the vault. They had originally planned on 80 million. That's twice as much. The cash is split evenly, and they pool money to pay back Fernandino.
I think it's so nice that it's split evenly. I feel like, we often see that the people who organize the beginning, this is a very communist, socialist approach to thievery, is that like everyone played their part and they're all going to take, it's a lot of money, right? Like you're getting a lot, whether it's evenly or not, but we've seen people fight over things like this. So I don't know. All these ex-criminals who are now just been digging the tunnel for forever. They're getting what they deserve. They're not, they're not underpaid is what I would say.
Yeah. There's so many people involved. It might just be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. As they flee the house, they douse it in chalk to avoid fingerprints. Everyone goes their own way with the money. They thought they would get a small penalty because it's just a burglary, 4 to 6 months in Brazil. But what they didn't consider was the conspiracy and money laundering charges. 129 involved in the crime have combined sentences of 2,452 years.
That's astronomical. 129 people being involved is the biggest operation we've ever had by far. And then that's a lot of years. I know you're going to talk about what each got, but I just think remember, they thought they might get 4 to 6 months for burglary. That's what they thought, 4 to 6 months. Instead, Jesse?
That's silly that they thought that because Ale Mao, the ringleader, gets 80 years.
It's a lot of months.
Gets 170 years.
Oh my God.
He got extra time for the second attempt tunnel robbery.
This is great. Also, we don't see prison sentences like this in most of our episodes. We've seen like 20 years and 25 years and things like that. And obviously there's been other crimes as part of things, but like all they did was steal. I mean, they did a lot more than that. I get that. But what are the corrupt cops getting for murdering people, if they're getting caught and thrown away, and sentenced? But like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not saying these are the good guys. They stole a lot of money from the central bank, but by comparison, I don't think they're as bad in some ways as the corrupt cops.
I mean, it's a huge burglary.
It is.
It's a massive thing. I'm sure they wanted to make an example out of them. But yeah, 170 years for a burglary is crazy.
It's crazy.
So Jorge Luis, a.k.a. Paulo Sergio, a.k.a. Kaiser Soze, manages to get off without a sentence.
That's also crazy. How much time did you get? Oh, 170 years. How about you? I didn't get anything.
Yeah. I was just really nice and people love me, so no prison time for me.
Yeah, I was just the face.
Yeah. The heist actually triggered Brazil to create their own version of RICO laws in 2013. Since the heist, dozens of tunnels have been discovered, including a 2,000-foot tunnel in 2017, which was thwarted before the gang could enter the bank. Wow.
Yeah.
The length of that tunnel is baffling to me.
It is. And I love that, in the story we told is, well, someone got away, they did steal the first one, then they got caught the second time with the tunnel, but people are still taking the tunnel route. They're like, I know the way to steal. It's the tunnel. Let's do tunnels again.
Let's do tunnels again.
Should we tunnel? Yes, let's tunnel.
Let's tunnel. Most of the money had not been recovered, as so much of it had been spent as soon as possible. Celso and his team were able to seize 20 million reais in cash and get 12.5 million after auctioning off seized assets. These days, Celso is now enjoying retirement. Nothing but white sand beaches and summer weather 365 days a year.
Good for Celso.
Good for Celso. And then in 2022, Netflix released 3 Tons, The Great Robbery of Brazil's Central Bank, a 3-episode documentary series about the heist and Celso's investigation.
Which I have not watched, but I would like to.
Me neither. But
yeah,
that is a complicated heist. Why is this not a movie?
I mean, there's so many cinematic scenes. I mean, not just when the corrupt cops and the federal investigators arrive at the house at the same time. It's a complicated movie, as it's a complicated story to tell, but I mean, it's so visual. And then there's another tunnel later in the movie that then they stop. It feels like an epic. And this would be a good 3.5 hour movie, I think.
Yeah, this one is massive. And
they stole 160 million reais, and they were able to seize 20 million. For all the money they stole, they did not get a lot back.
I think that's how it goes. Once you spend the money, it's hard to track it down or seize things, and you don't want to punish the businesses. It's really tough.
I don't know. In one sense, it's like you don't want to spend the money quickly so you can get away with it, right? Sometimes we definitely see people getting caught because they're spending so much money so fast and buying so many fancy cars with side doors that the police know that they did something. But in another sense, if you're gonna be caught anyway, just spend that cash and live it up for a little bit while you can.
These cars are so fancy; they have doors.
Ooh, Can I get a car with doors, please?
Oh, that'd be crazy if you didn't. You're trapped in there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's great. This one's crazy. We can get into today's diamond rating.
I'm high. This is a high diamond rating to me, even though they get caught and they get spent a lot of time in prison. I mean, again, as we just said, they spent a lot of the money after getting it, and only a little bit was recovered. And it is such a crazy, huge operation. Like the amount of people involved to pull this off and the tunnel. And I mean, yes, they got a little bit lucky with the cameras, right? I mean, that helped a little, but like to break into a place that never even had and get 160 million reais out of a place that never even had an attempted robbery before. The gumption, the ambition, the hubris of these people, and to actually pull it off and to immediately celebrate in this house and like throw the money on the floor. I'm going to go 4.5 diamonds.
Sure. Yeah.
I can't go 5 because they didn't get away with it, right? Like, but the actual, and there were certain things about getting caught, in terms of people getting caught easily, if you would, and all these side doors leading to their arrests and their demise. But as an operation, in terms of getting away with it for a little and the amount of cash they had and being able to spend it, maybe I'm repeating myself, sorry, but 4.5 diamonds.
Yes. I mean, 170 years prison time is a lot.
Yes, that is true.
But so I guess I'll go with 4, so it's different than yours.
We don't have to be different. We can be the same, brother.
We can never agree. Okay, fine, 4.5.
You just want to find a reason to disagree. You just want to create some discord.
I'm just trying to be my own person.
Is there a reason you go 4, not 4.5, though? Can I ask that?
Yeah, it's because they got all really caught,
They did. That is true.
But it's a huge scale one. I love a tunnel. I love when a plan comes together. So it's a really good one. I'll say 4.5.
Oh, I got you.
You got me.
We're in this together.
We're in this together now.
And our pronunciations, how many diamonds would you give our Portuguese pronunciations?
3.5.
Whoa, that's so much higher. I'm assuming we're at like a 2.
I think we did okay.
I mean, I think we did okay, but I'm sure a lot of others out there are like, nope, you did not.
We were passable.
That works.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people listening also will honestly not know what's correct. So maybe 3.5 is solid. You're right. We weren't like completely embarrassing.
We tried. We Googled it. We put pronouncers. It's not like we're just flying off the handle. We're doing our homework a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We A for effort. 5 diamonds for effort.
Exactly.
Well, time to go watch Short Circuit 2 and be reminded of how that plot really worked.
That's right. Let's go watch Short Circuit 2 and Lady Killers.
In honor of the great robbery of Brazil's central bank, what are we going to do? We're going to watch Short Circuit 2.
Short Circuit 2.
That's first thought. Cool one, Jesse. Okay. I will talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye, buddy. See ya. Peace.
All right. See you later. And tune in next week for Battleship, The Heist.
Heist Club is a production of School of Humans, hosted by me, Todd Weiser.
And me, Jesse Neiswanger. I do all the fancy audio and music editing too.
This episode was researched and produced by Carolyn Talmadge. Our senior producer is Amelia Brock.
Our production manager is Daisy Church. Our executive producers are Virginia Prescott, Brandon Barr, and Elsie Crowley.
Join us again next week for Heist Club, and don't forget to rate and review. Thanks.